everything else versus Bitcoin essentially gets spent and dies.
I want to be able to have reactive security, and I think OpVault is today the most straightforward, easiest to use way to do that.
I will not be insulted by a clockmaker.
Overall, these kind of ways to make the network easier to both build on and interact with, I think is a really big deal.
If Bitcoin existed when we started Twitter, we would not have to go down the ad model path. I mean, it's simple as that.
Integrating Lightning into a social network is the killer app.
Hello, and welcome to the Bitcoin.Review podcast, where we explore developments and projects with the people who actually make them happen. The show is supported by Pod 2.0, Sats Streaming, and CoinKite. If you're a new listener, I'm NVK. I run CoinKite, where we've been helping people secure their Bitcoins for over a decade. We make the cold card and fun products like the block clock. You can find more information about it on coinkite.com. Hello, and welcome back to the Bitcoin.Review. We had the last episode, Nostr got so big that we did the Nostr review, so that we can focus more on Bitcoin on the Bitcoin review list episodes. Just too much shit happening. Oh, actually, sorry, nothing's happening in Bitcoin. So I wanna introduce our guests of today, Mr. Mandrik, former pilot Popil and current baklava maker. Welcome back. Well, welcome for the first time.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me on. I know you like to have the people that are building things, like you say at the beginning of the show, but it's nice that you can also have me on as well.
That's okay. The baklava counts, and you have a BlockLock OG behind you. So
yeah. That's the real prize everybody wants. They want that OG BlockLock now that they can't get it.
That's right. Bumi, welcome back.
Hey everybody, nice to be back here. Got a long list here, so looking forward to it.
Yeah, as usual. I hope you guys peed before, because there's a good 2 hours here of list.
I keep a bottle next to me just for that, so we're good.
Nice. I'm wearing diapers.
Yeah.
So, housekeeping. More NFC cards designs for SATSCHIP and Tapsigner. Bear chip with Flex PCB SATSCHIP is going to be in stock very soon. So for artists, satscard.com now has balance for all the fiat currencies. And OpenSats is looking for more applications. I'm going to do a pre-announcement of an announcement. So just so you know, there's 3 big announcements coming out for OpenSats very soon. I don't know if it's next week or the week after, but hopefully very soon. And I know Gigi doesn't like me to announce things. So Gigi, I am just pre-announcing, okay? No details.
Announcing the announcement. That always goes well in Bitcoin.
Right?
Historically.
It makes sure that things take 2 weeks. So let's start with some security updates here. You know, these are not quite security updates, but they're censorship updates. So first was Damus. It was going to be removed from the App Store within 14 days because Apple review team got confused, as I understand, and they think that they are custodial Lightning. So a lot of people sort of started, letting Apple know where they should go themselves and where they should stick their heads. And Mr. Dorsey also tweeted at them and at Cook, and that I think helped get a call booked for Will to talk to them and explain to them that they're morons. I don't think this was malicious. I think they're just getting ahead of regulation, and they just don't want to fucking deal with it.
Yeah, that makes the most sense, I think. So are Zaps staying then? Is that what's happening?
I don't know the status of it.
Yeah.
And that also, I think, some collateral damage was Zeus. The latest version also got the letter, but I think Zeus got cleared out. It seems like it was released. So yeah, I mean, I think that just the low end reviewer guys there, sort of like getting a little trigger happy.
It's interesting. I was working at blockchain.info at the time when Apple was banning Bitcoin apps. So
2014.
Right. My wife and I were both working there. I remember she wrote a big blog post about the ban, and people were destroying their iPhones and stuff. So I was like, oh, are we going down this road again?
Yeah, it was glorious. I mean, I was ready to take my older iPhone to the shooting range.
Yeah, you're a huge iPhone guy. I know you love your Apple products. I can't say anything. I'm on a MacBook right now, but
there you go.
Same here, actually.
Bumi, any issues with Alby?
I mean, we are not depending on the Apple Store, at least right now. But that was definitely some crazy news there, some crazy discussions. Not sure if they're actually. Do you think they were really like aligned, or was it just a coincidence that Zeus and Damus was hit there?
So I think what happens is they have a policy change, right? Like up top, and like they just have like like search queries through the whole. I mean, the App Store is like millions of apps, right?
Yeah.
So they just have a query, you know what I mean? Like anything that matches. See, if it matches one word, maybe goes to like one kind of review. If it matches 3 words, oh boy, like that one is auto sort of removed. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I really think it's like this kind of and also, to be fair, I mean, Lightning custodial versus non-custodial gets very complicated. I mean, God, Lightning people don't understand it. So like, at what point is non-custodial? At what point is custodial, right? Like, what is the definition here? So not that they should have the right to take anything down, but I kind of understand they want to run a store that's walled garden and they're liable if the stuff is breaking the law, right? So,
yeah, I think that makes sense. Anyone who's ever worked for a big corporation knows, and the lower levels knows how messages from the top come down and how messy things are. So I think that makes sense versus like a malicious attack on the Lightning Network or on Nostr.
Yeah, and the interesting thing too is at the same time we got Mutiny on mainnet that uses PWA, right? Progressive Web App.
Yeah.
Which is WASM, right? It's like WebAssembly, like compiled. What's cool about this is that you get like, it's not quite the same, but it's very close to what a native app can do on the browser. And you can save it, and it saves state. It has much better security. So it's nice to see. Like, I mean, this all happened at the same time kind of thing. So you're like, okay, you know what? Like, even if you guys have censorship on the App Store, look, we can just save web pages now on the phone and we can get around you, right?
Yeah.
I'm oversimplifying, but I think it was like a perfect sort of like dichotomy of like, what censors want to do and like how we just get around it.
Yeah, and maybe we see, again, a little bit more move towards web apps and progressive web apps that can be added to the home screen and have potentially even similar experiences.
Yeah, unfortunately, most people look on the Play Store or the App Stores. They're not going to use that. That sadly.
Yeah, Bumi, are you guys looking at a PWA for Alby?
Yeah, partly.
Or is it going to be native? I know you guys are going to have an app. It has to happen.
It has to happen. There is still a lot of user research going on, and what's kind of the angle that we're tackling there, and how that fits into the idea that Lightning is integrated into other applications and how we make this possible. But people, I mean, our current web dashboard is not optimized for mobile yet, but I know quite some people are using it. I myself are using it too, though there will be some updates in the near future on that.
Yeah, I mean, like, I am a big Alby user, as you know. All the zaps and boosts that come to this podcast go straight to Alby, and I run Alby either on the browser on the desktop or with Zeus on the phone. It's a really good experience.
That's awesome to hear.
Yeah, and it's the only Lightning wallet that I've used so far that has not failed to send or receive once. So props to you, sir.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Do you want to explain to people what Alby is right at the top of the show? So maybe some people don't know.
Sure. Yeah. So Alby is mainly known for the browser extension. So we are a Lightning browser extension that allows you to directly use Lightning from your browser and natively integrate it into web apps. With that, you can connect your own nodes, but we also provide an account. And generally, we experiment with the idea where how we can integrate Lightning into existing user experiences and attach it to custom user interactions, mainly on the web, like, for example, the zapping or the likes. Instead of likes, you zap, and things like that. Yeah.
Cool. And now there is the Node Wallet Connect as well, right?
Exactly. So this is one of these experiments that we do, where the idea is, how can Nostr applications connect to Lightning wallets? Because people typically already have Lightning nodes, have Lightning accounts running, and how can I use that one within Nostr applications in this case? And we use the Nostr infrastructure, the relays, to talk to nodes and request payments. And this works pretty cool. It's also pretty cool because if you run your own node, for example, on a node at home, it's easier than to connect to Tor because we go through the relays, and so technically it's much easier to set up.
Yeah, no, it's very, very cool. All right, guys, without further ado, let's start with the software releases. Bitcoin Core 25, peer-to-peer and network changes, new RPCs, scan blocks, updated RPCs. I'm not going to get into the details. Build system improvement, wallet, a bunch of changes, GUI changes, and binary verification. So if you want a good rundown of the Bitcoin Core updates, more that we have time to do here, I highly recommend going to the Bitcoin OpTech newsletter. They do very in-depth reviews. So that's great. Nunchuk, iOS version 1.9.26. Batch transactions, BRC 2020-010 encoding for output descriptors. That's for the inscription and the ordinal kids.
What? That's ordinal stuff? Okay, yeah.
Well, it's that other crap. It's like the shitcoin ordinal version of it.
The BRC20 stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
The JSON files.
Coincidence review, ability to configure gap limit, message signing for TapSigner, and software keys. Android version 1.9.31, support for batch transactions, coincidence review, ability to configure gap limit, bug fixes, and improvements. Desktop version 1.9.20, fix sync bug, improve performance, ability to update the inheritance plan, and wallet policies, fix bug signing with Cold Card NFC on Windows. Do you guys use Nunchuk?
I haven't used it before. Would you say it's the best for using with the tap signer?
Yes. It's very good. Well, although Sparrow desktop with TapSigner is very good too, but then you need an NFC reader.
Right.
I mean, Nunchuk is killing it. I really think they're doing a very good job, and they're really pushing things forward.
Yeah, I keep meaning to try it out because with TapSigners, I'd want to try it. I've tried it with Sparrow before, but I haven't tried it with Nunchuk yet.
Oh, totally worth checking out. Like it's a very like you get like a proper wallet experience on the phone as opposed to like that sort of more dumbed down wallet experience on the phone. So like it's very powerful, and you can do real money on this thing.
Cool.
Because you're doing multi-sig.
I've also followed it only a bit on the side, actually, still. But they are pushing out updates. Yeah. It's awesome.
They are. I wish there was a way, like, we really need better ways for multi-sig wallets to talk to multi-sig wallets. And this is not on the signing side. This is on transaction generation side. So that you're not using only Nunchuk, right? Like you'd be using Nunchuk as one of the coordinators, and you'd be using some other software, like Sparrow, as the other part of the coordinator, so that you don't have coordinator issues. Yeah. Because on multi-sig gets tricky to verify everything.
Yeah, I think multi-sig is still pretty tricky for most just like normie type stuff, you know.
Well, Frost fixes everything. And if you want to learn about Frost, I just did a really good episode about it. Like we did a good 2 hours on it. 1 or 2 or 3 episodes ago. I can't remember the number.
You had a lot to say about Frost in Miami too.
Yes.
At the conference.
Frost fixes all the things. It gives you a whole new problem set, but it does fix everything. All right, BTC Pay Server version 1.10.1. New form builder, drag and drop UI, custom role system, height sensitivity information, improved invoice filtering, plugin updates, general quality of life improvements. Very nice.
Yeah, BTC Pay Server, I think, is probably one of my favorite projects. Just as somebody who got into Bitcoin as a merchant using BitPay, in 2011, it's like we've come such a long way, and it's so simple to use, relatively speaking. I think even to set up on your own.
Yeah, no, I still remember when what's his name? Forgot his name now.
You talking about BitPay?
Yeah, no. BTC Pay Server.
Oh.
God.
Who do you mean?
The name escaped.
Rockstar?
Anyways,
I don't know.
when he did the infamous tweet, "I will replace you."
Oh, geez, now I'm forgetting. What is this? Group.
This is the problem with is there's just too much stuff going on. Like my brain starts to lose it.
It is cool that we've
Nicola.
Yeah,
Nicola.
It is neat that we've reached a point where there's so much going on in Bitcoin. It's just impossible to keep up with all the software and everything. And
No, Mandrik. There's nothing happening in Bitcoin.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
There's nothing. We have to keep with the narrative.
Yeah.
There's nothing happening in Bitcoin.
All the actions in Ethereum, I forgot.
That's. It's actually been weird. I have not been hearing about the shitcoin people, the Ethereum people, sort of talking anymore on Twitter.
They're huddling up. They're trying to figure out their next scam.
No, but seriously, have you guys noticed they're completely quiet out the last few months? It's almost like nothing is happening there anymore after the ordinal shit came out.
Based on my experience, I think the summer's typically June, July. It's typically a slower time, anyways.
Is that for shitcoiners or for Bitcoiners?
I think in general. I mean, they run off of the whole market dynamic, and right now they're dealing with new lows and whatever. So I don't know.
Maybe it's also because we are hanging out too much on Nostr, and they didn't find that yet.
But there is that too.
Yeah. Just wait until the next Bitcoin bull market. Right. There's going to be some new scams, and you know what I mean. You're going to see some shitcoins or something going to the moon. I don't. They're like cockroaches, man. You can't get rid of them.
That's true. Talking about Nostr and Frost. I mean, Nostr does use Frost primitives too, capable. So that could be fun. We did address some of that on the Frost episode.
One thing to BTC Pay Server, I just came back from Prague, BTC Prague actually, and the team killed it there. They had a booth. It was super exciting to see the whole BTC Pay Server crowd there, nice. And there was great interest there. And I also learned that quite some companies are actually using, and a lot of projects are using BTC Pay Server in the back. So that's pretty nice to see that there's a lot of adoption that I actually didn't see before.
Well, I mean, Tesla was using it.
Cheap Air uses them, cheapair.com. I mean, I don't know how big they are, but
yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of people use it. It's great. It's great to see
nice.
that.
Well, I mean, it's a hard problem to keep up to date. Mm-hmm. We run a web store that we wrote ourselves many years ago, and it's a lot of work to keep up to date. And
I wonder when that one's going to get Lightning support.
Yeah, I wonder that too. Someday.
You should talk to the guy there.
It's working, don't fuck with things that are working. Yeah, no, it needs to be done, man. We really want to do it, just no bandwidth.
People probably give you so much shit about that all the time.
Yes. Oh, you have no idea. Robosats version 0.5.1-alpha. Core Lightning. Well, no, not Core Lightning. C Lightning. LN proxy, and a bunch of other updates. Ledger version 23.5.2. New feature, automatic uploading of your seed. Just kidding. Automatic formatting of numbers when sending less than a whole coin. Improvements, skip counting fees in day header by smart contract. Disable second coin join address until the first one is used. Yeah, man, those guys have had it rough the last few weeks.
Yeah, I'm a simple man. When they had that leak of all the users' home addresses and stuff, I was like, okay, I'm done with Ledger. Like that's where I pretty much just stopped my interest in anything they were doing after that.
That was brutal too.
I feel like it's not getting better there.
No.
So
Pascal did mention on the podcast that they did some customer research, and apparently, like none of their customers either remember or knows about the email leak.
People forget so fast, man. It's crazy.
It is pretty crazy.
It's kind of scary in a way, but yeah. I don't know.
Well,
maybe I just don't. Maybe I just remember too much.
yeah. Seedsigner reproducible build. That was I saw the tweet by Keith. I wanted to mention that that's a really nice upgrade. Very important.
That's a very important update.
Yeah.
It's a must-have for hardware wallets.
Yeah.
You shouldn't even use hardware wallet that doesn't support it. And next I really want to see them is them ditching the Broadcom blob and having their own firmware in there. All right, Bitcoin Keeper version 1.0.5, new subscription plan, and version 1.0.4 Whirlpool integration. So this is the first Whirlpool integration on iOS. So yeah, you can pick which spook you want to use for your coin join. Just kidding.
Figures. Wait, is Join Market what flavor of spook is Join Market?
Well, it's the only one that's spookless because it's
well, that's what I thought.
Market. Yeah, that's right. But it's the one that it's very hard for people to use.
Yeah, it took me many months as a computer idiot, but I eventually figured it out. Sometimes you just have to brute force your head into the wall until you break through, you know?
But I mean, in all seriousness, I mean, like, all the coin joins, if you're doing correctly, which is not simple, you do get the good anonymity set, right?
Yeah.
Even with the Wasabi that has input analytic, chain analysis.
Chain analysis, yeah. Your post-mix activity
Yes.
definitely plays a huge part of it, and that's where
That's right.
that's up to you more than the software itself.
Yep. MyNode version 0.3.18. Add a button to reset LND macaroons. Add button to reset Thunder Hub config. Add setting to control electrs. Index limit. Enable mempool full RBF in default. That's a good one. raspiblitz version 1.9. Oh, a bunch of updates.
That's
Lots
a big
of
one, I
stuff
think,
here.
right? So
Yeah.
they're not releasing too often, but then it's always like a bang.
Yeah, automatic disk image build for AMD 64, Fatpack, and minimal SD card builds details, I2P, CLN, Watchtower, LNDG, support for X708, UPS hat details, BOS. It's not BOS, it's letter BOS, boss. Telegram bot support. BOS is an OS that if you're old enough, you know.
I remember.
Oh, yeah.
Lightning, tip bot, LN proxy, and a bunch of other stuff. Very cool.
Yeah, I see they added the Jam Join Market Web UI, which
there you go.
I use that on
Let's test that one.
Start 9. It works pretty well. Makes it a little easier.
Cool.
And I have to say, I've never used their web UI, actually.
Yeah, I mean, have you guys tried Joinster?
Have I used Joinster? No.
Yeah, you should try Joinster. It's very cool. It's Join Markets using Noster as the coordinator.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I've heard it. Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah, I just haven't tried it. There's so many things happening in Bitcoin. I mean, sorry, there's nothing happening.
There's nothing happening.
Nothing's happening.
But that's up and running?
Sorry?
Joinster, is that a concept or is it already up and running? I haven't.
They had a like a demo thing. It was the last time I looked at. I haven't played with it to try real coins.
Interesting.
Yeah, because again, there's nothing happening in Bitcoin, so I have a lot of free time.
Yeah.
Parmanode version 3.3.5 and 3.3.4 more educational material and support for EXT or FAT32. It's a fun little project. Electrs version 0.9.14, fix server dot version, allow not waiting for block download before sync, bump Bitcoin D version to use in CLI or CI, sorry, prefix Prometheus metrics, fix up and a few other things. Very nice. Is it Belcher still running that project?
I haven't heard otherwise. He was running it for a long time. Yeah.
I don't know anything else.
It looks like
or I don't know it.
Romans. I don't know who this person is. Maybe it's a new username. I don't know. Anyways, cool to see. Oh no, wait, electrs. No, it was Belcher was Electrum personal client.
Oh,
sorry, personal
right.
server. Yes, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Electrs
yeah.
is something else.
True.
Boy, I get confused. Mercury Wallet version 0.8.14. Expire coins below minimum fee rate. Can be withdrawn. Recovery error handling fix. They had a big announcement. The Mercury protocol thing. Like it's like kind of like I think like some lightning competition as well. I don't know much about it. I just sort of remember some noise about it.
I read some noise about it, but I also didn't look into it.
Blockstream Green Desktop 1.2.0 macOS Universal Build support for Wayland. Ooh, taproot-assets. Note, I have no idea. I love this. Now, this is going to be a great note from Johnny. I have no idea how to interpret these release notes, NVK. Not sure if this is worth mentioning or not.
Well, you just mentioned it.
I just mentioned it, Johnny. Well done, sir. I do not know too much about. Oh, the taproot-assets. Okay, so this was going to be called Taro, but they got sued for trademark infringement. So they changed to Tap instead of Taproot. Sorry, instead of Taro.
Yeah. And there were a bunch of updates for the Taproot or assets daemon.
I can understand the confusion. This shit is very confusing. BTC Map Android version 0.6.6. Met the guy behind it. Very cool. They're keeping this up to date and updating it. Orange Peel app 1.3.0. Events group chat, claim event, user icon in chat. Orange Peel app is essentially a dating app for Bitcoiners.
Yeah. Something we would never use since we're married, you know.
That's right. Polar version 2.0.0. A one-click Bitcoin Lightning network for local app development and testing.
That's amazing, by the way. Super shout out here. This is a really helpful
do you want to
tool.
give a bit more of an explanation of what it really is and does?
It is a desktop application that spins up a bunch with a nice UI, and it spins up a bunch of Docker containers that you can configure your own local Lightning network. So you can say, I want to have a few LND nodes, I want to have a few core Lightning nodes, Eclair nodes, and so on. And you can open channels in between of those. And then it's quite helpful to have like local development environments that you don't have to use real sets and lose real sats when you work on Lightning apps.
So it's like a private testnet for Lightning?
It's a private testnet for Lightning. It helps spinning up a private testnet for Lightning, exactly, on your local machine.
Very cool.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah.
There's a super nice UI. So it's really, you open channels by dragging and dropping, like from one node to the other. And then you can say, here, I want to have this channel capacity here. Yeah.
Nice.
All the developers should check it out.
Nice. Project Spotlight, Eclair CLI. Eclair CLI is a Kotlin native command line application that lets you interact with your Eclair node. It runs on various desktop platforms. Cool. BTC Warp, a proof of concept system that aims to solve the client syncing problem for Bitcoin by using ZK snarks to prove the validity of the longest valid proof of work chain. Is this like similar to like ZeroLink? Or like within the same vein?
I have to pass on this, actually. I don't know BTC Warp.
Yeah, same. I haven't heard of it.
Yeah.
Musig Playground, a Bitcoin transaction on testnet in which many people send some fake money to one Bitcoin address, but you look like just one person sent it. That's fun. Okay, so this is a new section of the show, is the ham stuff lunch break.
Oh, your favorite, talking about radios.
Right. I just wanted to mention this one. It's too cool. So this FX-4CR radio, it's kind of like SDR based. It's a small little radio that's all HF bands. Why is it interesting? It's a Chinese dev maker who's making these radios. They're fairly decent quality, and he's selling direct. It's open source, and it's open source on GitHub. I think it's the first time I see a foreign sort of directed Chinese open source project that's like North American style open source, not Chinese factory open source. It's very complicated to explain to people, but anyways, super interesting. And if you're interested in radios, the source code is very decent. So, and is STM32 based. So you can go look at like how SDR radios work. I mean, and this is a full featured radio too. So it's impressive. And the guy is selling them for $500. So totally worth it. I pre-ordered one.
My interest in radio did peak a little bit in the past year with flight school and having to use radios all the time.
That's right.
Huge part of it.
Once you get into radios, it's hard to get out of it. Now get a ham license. All right, Lightning software releases and project updates. LND version 0.16.3. A bunch of updates here. Mempool optimizations, re-encrypt, regenerate all MacaronDB root keys, channel link bug fixes, consistent contract resolution. Bumi, what do you guys use LND?
We use LND, yes. Yes, our main node is running on LND. Yeah. And I think we also already updated to that one. I think quite promising from the release notes, there was a quote that potentially 2 errors or 2 fixes were added to solve the issue of like random force closes, which some people have been reporting about LND here. So potentially this has some update there.
Bluewallet version 6.4.5 adds support to multiple accounts from Keystone Hardware Wallet.
What's Keystone Hardware Wallet?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't know either?
No, I know Keystone.
Oh.
That's what's his name?
Why doesn't that sound familiar to me?
Yeah, they were a little bit bigger a few years ago. It's the one that's like touchscreen Android based.
Oh, you know what? I know what you're talking about now. Okay. I looked it up on Twitter. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Why don't you read your software update there?
Yeah, the AlbyJS SDK version 2.00. And along with that is actually an update in Alby tools. Both are 2 JavaScript libraries that should make it easier to build Lightning apps. And the AlbyJS SDK now includes a JavaScript interface for Nostr Wallet Connect. So it makes it easy to build to integrate Nostr Wallet Connect into JavaScript apps.
Very nice. Thank you.
Okay. We have 2 parts here on the list. We have added webhooks for our accounts. So any API integration can now register for invoice updates through webhooks, which allows quite some new apps. And one of the experimentation that we did there was SapSplitter. That's also built on that. It uses the idea from Gigi about the Lightning prisms, that you can generate one random Lightning address, and any payment that is received there will be automatically forwarded to a number of recipients there. I'm a big fan of splits, and I'm a big fan of programmable money here, and splits is part of that. So the orchestrating payment flows is, I think, huge in what we can do. and making it easy to receive with one payment and spread this out to multiple recipients, I think is pretty cool. So this is an experiment that we did there. Would love to hear some feedback. So if somebody is trying it out, please send some thoughts over.
Yeah, it sounds like a cool concept.
And I mean, if you haven't tried splits yet, I highly recommend that. I use that for the pod. 5% of the boostograms and boosts that come to this pod go to OpenSats.
That's a nice example of splits, right? So that you can say here, I want to automatically donate parts of the SAPs and SATs that are coming into a certain project.
That's right.
Yeah, that's really neat.
Fountain version 0-7-0. That's a new convention. New podcast library, transcripts, and live beta. That's cool. Performance and UX upgrades. Yeah, the Fountain is really one of a kind. I've seen some of the other Podcast 2.0 apps, but they're not close to what Fountain offers.
Yeah, Fountain's pretty clean, right? Like compared to a lot of the others.
Yeah,
looks good and runs well.
Yeah. Zeus version 0.7.6 notes add ability to leave notes on transactions, payments, and invoices. Do the notes sync with the other clients or the node that you're using, or is it client side?
It's a good question.
I think it's client side as far as I know.
I think it's, yeah.
Okay, because you could use the Lightning messaging, right, to maybe send the note back to the node and have a copy there.
I'll have to check next time I'm using Zeus.
If the node supports that,
yeah. Fiat exchange rates, ability to choose between Zeus and Yadio as source. POS, associate existing payments with other orders. That's their point of sale. Wallets of Satoshi version 2.2.2, customizable Lightning address, contact Lightning, auto-pay Lightning, invoice settings, Korean language. Very curious to know like who runs Wallet Satoshi. It was so funny. I was asking around and I don't know anybody who knows them. I'd love to meet and connect.
Are they like anons or something, or?
I don't know. Like I kind of don't know. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
I mean, at least nobody that I know knows.
But they're like one of the most popular Lightning wallets.
I know. That's why I was so like, because somebody came to me like, do you know like who runs that? I'm like, oh, actually I don't. So then I started asking around oh, nobody knows. So that's interesting. I mean, good for them if they can remain anon too, but still kind of curious.
As long as they don't rug anybody.
Well, I mean, you never know, right? It could be the fiat gun in their heads that makes them rug people too. So anyways, just curious. Satimoto release demo for their app. No personal information, no credit card, all custodial, all non-custodial. This is the power of the Blockstream Greenlight and Breeze SDK. Let me just take a quick look here. I'm curious. What does Satimoto do? Satimoto, it's the EV charging paying thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
I think that's their mobile application for that.
Maybe I should try this with my Tesla.
There you go. NetStash version 0.1.12 now automatically checks and updates outdated mint keys. That's a fun project. Mesh launches Lightning Wallet. Progressive web app does not require the App Store. Another one.
Here we go. Another one. Exactly.
Yeah. It's there you go. It's pretty
good timing, I guess.
Yeah. Bitrefill integrates Lightning Network login. Well, that's cool. Although, I don't know, I never really liked Lightning login too much. You always felt weird using my Lightning ID as my ID. I don't like linking payments to IDs. I feel like the Nostr ID for login is a much better thing.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, IDs should never be linked to money ownership.
Yeah.
I agree there.
Yeah.
And it's actually quite I hear quite some usability issues also.
Yeah.
With people not really knowing that they actually link it to their node or their some account, and suddenly they lose access and so on, I guess. And I think
maybe it's time to kill.
with LNWell auth, if I remember correctly, Fiat Chef is also no longer super excited about it. He says it was a mistake.
Stop supporting it, people.
So
let's not link money to IDs.
Well, like NOS2X would be like a better way, right? Something like that extension. I love using that. That's great.
Yeah, no, I mean, NIP 57? No, NIP 7 login. NIP 7 login.
Right.
It's awesome.
Yeah, you can use keys there. So just not your payment keys.
And another cool thing, because the ID is not linked to the money anymore, right? Like you can just create a new ID too, right? I mean, like key pairs are free.
Yeah.
From Nostr, right?
So you don't have to use the same one to link all your things to the same.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think soon enough we're gonna have apps that what they do is they'll support like multiple keys, so you can have like a million different IDs, and then you just choose which ID to use where.
Well, Nostr's so early. It's so freaking early right now, and so like 6 months from now, the user experience is gonna be so different. You know, a year from then, so these things are just starting to pick up, right?
I mean, it already is, right? I mean, you go to like something like primal.net, like it feels like you're using Facebook.
Yeah. Well,
you know what I mean? Like
in a good, in a good way, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, no, but like it's like the Facebook that you can just like quit and leave, right? Like I mean, the keys are yours. Like they have nothing on you, right? So you just back up your keys and leave.
Yeah. And there was nothing half a year ago, right? More or less.
Yeah.
So,
like
so
literally,
that's the thing,
yeah.
so.
Like I mean, it is remarkable. It's also very easy to develop too, right? Like which is really cool. I mean, sure, it's hard to do security right or to scale like a relay, but aside from that, like it's much more approachable than Bitcoin is, right?
Yeah.
I mean, with Bitcoin, a bug makes you lose money. In Nostr, like it's a little bit more forgiving on what you're doing.
Yeah, and the tools are evolving fast. Like the developer tools are also
yes.
Like
I mean,
all the
NDK
libraries for
is
all the
amazing.
languages. Yes, for example.
Yeah. I mean, Pablo is killing it there. All right, Project Spotlight, eNuts, an open source mobile cashew wallet for iOS and Android. Very nice.
These guys are killing it too. Like there's so much cashew and stuff coming out, and this one looks really, really nice actually. So
it's pretty impressive.
Pretty impressive.
Scaling Lightning, a testing toolkit for the Lightning network. I don't know this one. Wallet Tunnel, Lightning Wallet, web-based app, another one. Don't know if it's progressive or not, but
I don't know that one either. I heard about it on Twitter, but I'm happy to see more wallets coming up here. So
yes,
we need more.
More wallet diversity. Sorry, you were going to say something?
I was just going to ask, is that it says, it's custodial and or self-custodial. Walletano. Yeah. Walletano.
I guess you can also connect a node potentially, but I'm not sure.
All right. BitBanana is a native Android app for node operators focused on user experience and ease of use. Cool.
There's an update on the old SAP application. Is that? I heard something on Twitter about it.
Yeah.
How have I never heard of BitBanana? That sounds so interesting.
Wow, I only know Anana. Is it Anana Nostr?
All these fruit and nut names. Can we just start naming things after beef, like different parts of the cow?
Yes, I know, right?
Like let's get off of the nuts.
Gallbladder.
Yeah. Something with a thymus. I don't know. Like
that's right. Oh, times are so tasty.
Oh yeah. Don't get me started.
I know. By the way, if you're in Florida, there is this restaurant called Fiorito. It's like a nice little Argentinian joint off the beating path that has the best Titus.
If you've never had thymus, listeners, go get some. Trust me.
Yes. Crunchy.
Yes.
All right. Nostr software releases and project updates. I just have a few here. Just one because it's like Bitcoin related. Zebedee app upgrade with a social network built on Nostr. So Zebedee does Lightning stuff. So that's kind of cool. All right. Now we're going to get to boosts. Bread Mills. Great hearing the Clubhouse crew on NVK show. Great convo on splicing and more. MR. Try being humble, NVK. Pod 2.0. Yeah, no. It's called Podcasting 2.0. Okay. Crust, not Rust. And a lot of peeps are daving on this. You were rude, NVK. Stop that.
No, he said it's Rust.
Yes. So he might not know about the debacle that happened in Rust, where the Rust Foundation essentially was saying that nobody could do Bitcoin things with Rust because they don't like Bitcoin. So somebody forked Rust into a new language called Crab. But I was bothered by that because you could do so much better. You should call it Crust. And then you can have Crusties as their improvement proposals there. And that really throw back the Rust Foundation. So MR, learn to take a joke, sir. But thanks for your boostergram. Eighth me for dear, the Bitcoin public service announcement. Thank you. Vake, essential listening. It's gonna get weird. Fiat Jeff hosts the #1 Bitcoin StarCraft podcast. Wartime Psycho. Fire, clap. I like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
like,
good.
I gotta say, like, emoji boostergrams are pretty great to read out loud.
They get the message right across just fine.
Yes.
Yeah, set more emoji boosts. I want to hear more of you reading out emojis.
That's right. Me too. I want to read more emojis.
Yeah.
Go emoji nuts, folks. All right, Bitcoin Optac newsletter. So I'll just read some titles here and folks can go look at the actual meat of this because it's very high signal there. So 252, state compression with zero knowledge validity. 253, proposal for managed join pool protocols and transaction relay over Nostr. That's cool.
Hey, I got a question.
Yeah.
Over the transaction relay over Nostr, what would be the benefit of that? Like, what's the main benefit of doing that?
I mean, like, I don't think there is actually like a big benefit. I think it's more interesting as alternatives, right? Like, it's like optionality kind of thing. So, for example, you could have other people broadcast for you and avoid timing attacks, for example, right? So people can't figure out who actually broadcasted what.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, a lot of times I see things like that and I'm like, what's a real world use of that? You know?
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, like, imagine you have, for example, a device that only does Nostr, right? Maybe it does Nostr and has a Bitcoin wallet in it, right? It can't do any other protocol. The way I look at this is simple, right? Anything that makes Bitcoin have more options and be more decentralized, it's like, yes, please.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I mean, yeah, like you with the broadcasting transactions over radio, right? Like,
Exactly.
same
Like,
kind of thing.
it's who's going to use that?
But you can if you want to.
Exactly.
It's there.
That's right. That's exactly my point. 254, using MATT to replicate CTV and manage join pools. 255, discussion about Taproot Annex, Draft BIP for silent payments. Pretty excited about silent payments. All right. News and noteworthy. Home servers going mainstream. Umbro home server. Start9 introduces Serverlite and Server One home servers. It's nice to see.
I'm a Start9 fanboy. I love Start9.
Yeah, it's really nice hardware. And Bitcoin Mechanic is doing a good job there.
Yeah, for sure. They have great guides too. Like it's very simple to use.
Yeah, this is all Bitcoin Mechanic. All those guides.
Yep.
It's impressive. And they have guides that are completely unrelated to that stuff too, just because why not?
Yeah.
It's nice to see.
I've used so many of those personal nodes. Like I built so many of them. I've used so many different software. Start9 just, to me, it's my favorite. It blows all the other ones away.
It really is. I step above.
Yeah.
Bitcoin product community announces the Bitcoin Volunteer Opportunity Board for FOSS projects. Okay. If you're looking to get involved in Bitcoin FOSS projects, check out the board. All right, Lightning and L2 news. Bolt.observer to open source liquid ops. Don't know much about that. Bolts launch liquid swaps. Sorry, go ahead. Oh.
You hearing voices again?
Yeah, that's right. Liquid adds 6 new members to its federation, bringing a total to 67. Yeah, Liquid needs a competing federation. I'll keep on saying that until it happens. Swan Bitcoin Lightning withdrawals in alpha test.
That's cool.
Yeah. Blockstream open sources Greenlight client repository. That's nice. People seem to be very excited about Greenlight. I don't know too much about it.
I've seen a lot of like buzz around it, yeah, but I haven't really.
Yeah.
I don't know too much about it either.
Yeah, I know that Breeze is building on top of it, right?
It's to resolve liquidity issues, isn't it? Sort of like a liquidity provider kind of thing.
No, actually, it is to solve that you run the node in the cloud, like Blockstream runs the node in the cloud, and it only wakes up on demand, but you have your keys locally on your device.
Oh, nice. Very, very cool. No wonder people are excited about it.
So it completely decouples like anything that needs to know network state from the signing. So that's pretty powerful, actually.
Nice.
And there will be liquidity services, I think so too, which is like Breeze is what doing.
Wow, that's going to be very helpful for web apps.
Yeah, and mobile apps. So
yeah. BTC Prague conference partner with Fedi to test short-term initiative design explicitly to run during the event. Okay.
I did try it. I did try the new Fedi Alpha version during BTC Prague. Actually, it worked. so I got eCash in my Fedi account and bought a Lightning beer with that. Like paid a Lightning invoice to pour some beer.
Oh, nice.
And it worked. So yeah,
Nice.
That was quite nice.
Oh, there you go. Nicholas Gregory announced a new Bitcoin Layer 2 initiative, Mercury Layer. That's the one we very briefly mentioned on the update to their wallet. Seems to be also getting a little bit of buzz. It's just so nice to see Lightning competition. Like, I want to see more options out there, things that are not even interconnectable with Lightning, just like more, right?
Sure.
I think it's really great to have other things with different sets of trade-offs.
Yeah. More ideas are generally only fostering creativity. So
that's right.
Yeah, I like seeing that too. Like even with hardware wallets and things like that.
Yes.
But I also have, and I like to sometimes buy things like that and like different hardware wallets, test them out, or try different software. But a lot of times I'm not going to change what I'm currently doing just because you make a mistake in Bitcoin and it's very painful. So sometimes it's hard to just like even bother looking into some things because it's like, well, what problem is it solving that I'm not, solving right now?
Yeah, what I want to see is like, I want to see people inventing new things, not just copying existing things.
Right.
It's like, it's fun and all to like sort of try to remake something or whatever, but like, go try to invent something new, right? Like yourself from first principles. Of course, use libsecp 256k1 library, right? Like, don't go write your own crypto library, please.
Don't go too far with it, right?
Exactly. Like, don't go too far, right? But like, if you're gonna like make a new hardware wallet, like try to invent something that completely is like completely different.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's like what we tried with Tapsigner. It's like completely different sets of trade-offs. Right. Like it's like we need that. We need more diversity of creativity, of thought, because otherwise it's just like oh look, I'm competing on you because the color is different or whatever. Right. Like it's dumb. It's like we're not advancing a market that's so young. This was one of the coolest things in the early days of cell phones, in the early days of computers, is that like, everybody was trying something completely different than the other person, right? Remember how like Nokia phones used to look like, or Palm Pilot phones used to look like, Blackberries, like you had all this diversity of like different ideas that were like very different.
And it felt like every 6 months it was like, whoa, did you see this new one? Like it was crazy.
That's right. It does this other cool, crazy thing, right? I think like people need to get off their asses and not be lazy when it comes to creativity, right? Like it's like, yes, I know it looks like this one company is trying to do something and it probably sells, so I should go and try to sort of like approach the market by like doing something like similar with a little extra thing. Don't do that. Go try to invent something new. You might actually invent a new market for yourself, right? So anyways, that's it's nice to see new stuff now competing on L2 and L3s.
Yeah.
All right. Privacy. Satoshi Labs announced the launch of Vaxo Foundation. I didn't really read into this. Didn't really understand much. Do you guys know anything about it?
No.
I only know the mobile app actually that they released there, or I think there's a new version out there. I don't know, but which is basically a peer-to-peer Bitcoin like application. But that's all I've seen and know.
Very cool.
I see it's peer-to-peer, no KYC, institutional interference. Is that specifically for sending and receiving, or is it a way to get non-KYC Bitcoin?
Yeah, that's how I understood it.
Oh, really? Oh,
take
that's
it as a grain of salt.
That's great. I mean, I'm a huge proponent of KYC-free Bitcoin.
Well, I mean, it's funny, right? Like the KYC thing is totally overdone, right, by companies because they don't.
They don't do that kind of KYC for anything else, right? Like,
yeah, no, you don't need to. Like, I mean, there's a bunch of like thresholds and things and different like localities that if you do it the right way, the requirement is much lower to none. And anyways,
it's ridiculous.
It's like
so crazy.
They do the equivalent of AML KYC for like everybody if they're doing like $10 million or if they're doing like $1, right? Like This is stupid. Like, but I think these things are going to improve with time. I'm optimistic about this. I really think it will because it's easy for you to like go censor and annoy like say 5 million people, right? It's going to be very hard to do this level of stupidity when it comes to like 1 billion people.
Right.
or 3 billion people or 4 billion people, right? Like it starts to become like impossible to do all this. And people would just say, fuck it. The same way there's still a cash economy in every country.
I mean, some of the best user experiences I ever had in Bitcoin were back with like using BitInstant or using local Bitcoins, things like that. There's so simple ways to just accumulate Bitcoin. I didn't have to hold my driver's license up to my face and send a picture or whatever they do. Right. Like it's insane.
Yeah, I never done that one.
Yeah,
I don't have it in me.
Well, no, but they ask for the right, like companies ask for that.
Yeah,
kind of thing. It's gross.
It is gross. All right, funding. Brink. Jack Dorsey's small pledges $5 million a year to Brink. Oh, that's really cool. Brink, like OpenSats and like Spyro are all sort of how do you call it? Funding Bitcoin development and core dev work and all that stuff.
Yeah, like a typical Bitcoiner, when Jack started talking about Bitcoin, I was super suspicious and concerned. But man, as time has gone on, he has proven to be just wow, what a key player here, and he's such a real one, man. Like
I'm a board member of OpenSats, and like the funding came with like no strings attached. Like
that's crazy, right?
Like
that's
zero.
Cool.
Like,
that's like when does that ever happen?
Yeah, like it's
So it's incredible to see the work he's doing in this space, and like wow,
we need more of that.
Yeah,
Brink received $60K from Starwork and also $50K from BitMax. Very nice. Bolt 2 announces a $150,000 grant to support validation to support VLS. That's cool. Sorry, BOL, not Boat. Mining. The anti-Bitcoin mining bill in Texas is officially dead. There you go. Tether mining investments, energy production, blah, blah, blah. They're investing in sustainable mining, whatever the fuck that means. There is no such thing.
Well, you just need to sustain it so it keeps making money, right?
That's right.
So you can use coal.
Carbon credits are a scam. Green energy is a scam.
Of course.
It's go look at how solar panels get disposed. And then you come talk to me about CO2 problems.
Don't they just melt them down into,
They can't. There's nothing you can do with it.
No, I'm just kidding.
It is. It's very egregious. Very annoying.
They plant them in a forest.
So how's, Bumi, you're in Germany. Like, how's the rhetoric around like closing up all those amazing nuclear power plants you guys had there?
I have to say I'm not a good person to talk to that. I don't know much what's going on in I'm not following the news that much in Germany, to be
That's
honest.
Probably a good idea.
Especially in that regard. I think they're gonna try to distract it with like this new heating discussion. I think there's a lot of heat, like they want to force people to change their heatings to use whatever now and so on. So, but it's
do you hear from just like everyday people complaining about electricity bills? Like,
yeah, some, but not too much actually. But as I said, like I'm not a good person to talk to about that, so I'm not following that much, and most of my friends like kind of also ignore it. We opt out here.
I wonder if that's more of like a wintertime thing too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like currently it's pretty summer is here, and nobody cares that much. I think
nobody cares. I remember being in Germany, and you guys run your houses hot in the summer and cold in the winter.
That was my experience in Germany too. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, compared to here, it's it makes sense. I mean, energy is more expensive there, right? So it's always
at least no air condition here. So that's Germans don't like air conditioning. So
our air conditioning is a shitcoin. I'm with you there. It's like, I mean, I end up using it here and there.
It's a shitcoin.
It is. It's terrible for you, dude.
I don't think it's a shitcoin, but I think it's overused for sure.
No, like, I mean, I'm in a car. I open the windows.
Yeah,
right?
open the windows.
Although we do have a small issue here where I am, because it gets to minus 35 Celsius, right? In the winter. So heating is not optional.
Yeah.
And in the summer, it can get to like 40 Celsius. So like, it's also like you want to tame that a little bit.
The nice thing about air conditioning now is humidity, right? Like getting the humidity out of the air.
No, but you need the humidity. It's good for you.
No, it's not good for the house though, necessarily. Things inside, right?
Yeah, I guess. Anyways, what are you gonna do?
It's a trade-off. Hey, look, I'm a Windows guy. I want to open the windows. That's how I am. My wife's the same way. But
all right. Strike announces expansion of payment services sent globally. Mexico and a bunch of other countries too, I think. Google partners with Lightning Network service provider Voltage. BitKey by Cash App partner with Coinbase so that you can send directly from your Coinbase to your Cash App using BitKey. Political SEC filings, blah, blah, blah. Completely uninterested unless you guys want to talk about any of this shit.
Not much. Yeah, I see SEC stuff and I'm just like...
It's like just gloss over it.
Yeah.
Like, TBD launches tech preview of Web5 verifiable credential toolkit. No, never mind. They should have called it VCT. Bitcoin Audible, helmed by popular Guy Swan, was served with a lawsuit on Friday. Plaintiff is a deaf fan who's taking the podcast world to task on a lack of ADA compliance.
What is that?
Go fuck yourself.
Wait, you have to be in ADA compliance to have
go fuck yourself.
That's insane.
This is true. This can't be true.
It says the plaintiff backed by Roger Ver.
You can't.
This can't be real. What?
What?
Oh, it's the Bitcoin Bugle, dude. Look.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
We've been onioned. We've been onioned.
I had to look at I'm like, dude, this is Bitcoin Bugle.
That is
I love that site.
Those guys are so good. I fall for most of them.
Well, they're not just good, but they're so fast.
Yes. Plaintiff backed by Roger Ver.
That's hilarious.
That is so good. Well done, guys. Well done.
How are you of all people? How are you getting rugged all the time by these guys? Come on.
Oh man, like I think the problem is like
you fucking boomer.
The all the news against Bitcoin it's often so absurd
that it's bullshit. Right.
Miners are going to boil the oceans, kind of thing, right? Like it's so absurd that like when I read stories, I just assume if it's against Bitcoin, it's probably true.
Yeah. Well, it's always scary when the onion is the more rational version of the truth, right? You're like, oh, that doesn't sound that bad as what's actually going on.
Yes. The Signal announces tracing ASIC fingerprints to reshape our understanding of Bitcoin mining. Cool, by Karen Helmy, Lucas Newsy, Alex Mead, Kyle Waters, and Coinmetrics team. ARC did an AMA with Barak. Async secured 100 mil. Cool.
It's a good read, like how they're securing their node, having 100 mil. So it's
it's not like an investment; it's security. Very cool.
Yeah, it's security.
I haven't read that one yet.
Yeah, securing a $100 million Lightning node, that sounds very interesting how that's done.
Yep, it's not easy. Explain RBF by Nifty. Normal operation and closure of pre-taproot LN channels. Ili Mouton. Bitcoin address type compared. P2PKH, P2SH, P2 WPKH, and more by Unchained.
Nice overview here. Yeah.
Sparrow Wallet, Ultimate Guide Start Guide for Beginners by Athena. Robosats Guide, Bitcoin.guide. Darkpool, a Xiaomi blinded eCash like co-op mixing pool for self-custodial savings accompanying mints.
Get it all out there.
I know, right?
Mouthful.
Beginner's friendly guide to open source projects by Bitcoin Guide.
By the way, I love all these privacy focused apps and projects. Like, it's so great to see more of them, but at the same time, sometimes I start looking into them and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to give it a few months and come back, see how this is doing. Cause it's just
one of the best Bitcoin privacy strategies is to just buy and never sell.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just keep it piling up until better privacy solutions come about as well. It's a very valid strategy.
That's actually what, like, as someone who's not, like I said, I'm not as technical, but like there was a point where with UTXO management where I'm like, I don't really know what to do from here. And it's just like, well, I just won't do anything and I'll just wait a few years and maybe there'll be a better thing to do.
Yeah. Well, there didn't used to be a way for you to manage UTXOs for a long time.
That's true too. Yeah. You couldn't decide. The wallet chose for you.
A collection of resources related to covenants by Robin Linus. Oh, that's cool. I should read that. Lightning payments. When are they too small to secure by BitMax? By the way, BitMax Research has really good posts. I wonder if this is by Yogurt. Who wrote this? Oh, it doesn't say.
BitMax Research is like S tier. They're so good.
Yes. Value for value music with Lightning. What a concept by Wavelake. And they're also using Nostr too.
It's a nice post there also about it. Kind of really good overview about the idea and like how it's relevant for what they're doing in the music industry.
Nice.
I mean, Lightning and music industry just seem like a perfect match.
Tidal was working on some Nostr stuff and Lightning and things like that too. So I don't know how far they are.
I've tipped bands before with Bitcoin, and I actually gave them open dimes in their tip jar at the shows. I went to see them.
That's cool.
With instructions on, like, here, go to this website if you want to learn,
nice.
What to do with this thing.
And don't lose it.
Yeah, well, that too.
BTC Warp, don't sync, verify, succinct labs. Very cool. So these are all like posts with links for people to go read because there's nothing happening in Bitcoin. So you could spend the next 100 years trying to know what happened last month.
Yeah, I've actually, since we've been talking, I have about 30 new tabs of nothing to look into. That's right. I'm going to spend the next few weeks looking into all this nothing.
And for the people that don't know, Johnny puts all the links and all this information in the show notes. So you go to Bitcoin.review and you can get a link to everything that's here. All right, guys, did we miss anything? I have a feeling we are missing a few things today, but I can't remember. Anything come to mind to you guys?
I mean, I think you covered the biggest thing of the week. Really, was like the whole. Well, I guess it depends on what you think is biggest, but like tipping the zaps on Damus and Apple. I feel like that was a pretty big story.
Well, today also came out that BlackRock is looking into applying for an ETF. These are literally like the evil empire, but it is interesting nonetheless. I mean, they would not be doing this if they didn't think they had a chance. These people are serious people.
Yeah, this isn't the Winklevi trying to get
that's right,
an ETF or whatever, Silbert, whoever. Like, this is legit.
No, they're fully embedded with government, right? They are the government.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, the way I look at their office is it's like the Death Star.
But worse.
And it's funny because the Bitcoin price dunked. So it wouldn't surprise me that is related, that, people who had access to the news coming out probably trying to dunk and buy some coins cheap.
Well, that's the quote unquote conspiracy theory, right? Like dump the price and then that's when you accumulate. Right. That's just always been what it is. You're right.
It's always been.
That's why it's like, hey, Anon. It's like, hey, Anon, you got to hold through these dips, man. Don't give your Bitcoin to these huge companies that are going to be stacking up.
That's right. Listen, guys, with that, how about some closing thoughts? Mandrik.
Closing thoughts? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think we covered a lot here today. I have a lot to look into, to be honest. Like, as just a pleb who's just living his life right now, I'm always interested in new Bitcoin projects, and it's so cool to hear about them. But I think for most people, it's a good idea. If you have a good situation, if you have like a wallet that you use and it works really well and you self-custody or whatever, play around with new things, but don't be moving your stash if you don't need to, right? Like, that's what I always tell people. Like, don't mess around with a good thing if it's already working.
Yep.
And the best way to make that work, and this isn't a promo, is probably cold card. Let's be real, right? I mean, let's be honest.
He is not a paid shield.
I've never received anything for free from them.
No, it's the opposite. He's a money spender on our store.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for that note.
Definitely.
Bumi.
I guess we have another good proof that nothing is going on in the Bitcoin space here. So there is not much to add. We should keep an eye on what's happening with Damus and what Apple is doing there. Keep on zapping and also find a ways around around like the restrictions there. So
do we have any sort of like rough estimate of like how much of the Lightning Network volume is still related to zapping and Nostr?
It's tracked somewhere, isn't it? I remember seeing things, especially when zapping first came out, where it was just this huge spike. And I'm sure that's settled down a bit. Maybe not.
Zapping is practically coin washing, which is hilarious, right? Like like people just receive the zap and they set it out. But it's volume, man.
Yeah. It's interesting, right? You love to see it. And I think there is a big movement to do a ton of zaps now this week. I think they're trying to get like 1 million zaps or something in a week.
Well, we're gonna do it.
Yeah, I think it's possible.
Yeah, and there's Zapathon, right? Like these Zapathon events, like Thursday, Friday, like evening European time. So it's actually quite fun. So
that's great.
It's challenging the Lightning Network, and it shows what can be done. So this is what I love about that here. So yeah, we need more of that.
That's what's so cool about using Nostr. You're like, you sit there and you're like, you get excited about receiving less than a penny's worth. You're like, oh, cool. I got 8 cents. But it's like, I never got 8 cents tweeting.
That's right.
I've had Twitter since 2009. I didn't get paid shit.
It was the same thing I felt when I did the Boostagrams, and like it's all sort of like beer money, right? But it's still fun. I mean, like, I don't know, there's something special about people parting with their money for for silly things on the internet.
There's more weight to it than just hitting the like button.
That's right. All right, boys. Thank you so much for coming. And with that, we are closing another Bitcoin list of nothing happening in Bitcoin.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening. For more resources, check the show notes. We put a lot of effort into them. And remember, we don't have a crystal ball, so let us know about your project. Visit bitcoin.review to find out how to get in touch.